Welcome to the Pittsburgh City Council regular meeting of Monday, July 15th. My name is Mike Wentz, and with us today is Logan Showalter, our sign language interpreter. The following is a list of legislation to be introduced by Pittsburgh City Council. Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess presents Bill 1827, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in the total sum of $52,500 in favor of Jennifer Batten and her attorneys, Stewart, Murray, and Associates Law Group, fully releasing the city from all claims and liability for alleged personal injuries as described in a lawsuit filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Councilman Corey O'Connor presents Bill 1828, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of public works on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into a three-party agreement or the use of existing agreements between the city of Pittsburgh and PWSA and Eisler Landscapes as the general contractor for Whiteman Park Improvement Project at a cost not to exceed $1,858,319.61, which includes a 7% construction contingency. Bill 1829, resolution authorizing the URA to submit an application to the Pennsylvania Office of the Budget for a redevelopment assistance capital program grant of up to $1,750,000 for the Allegheny Network ED expansion, Allegheny General Hospital project. Bill 1830, resolution authorizing a cooperation agreement with the URA in connection with the URA's application for a redevelopment assistance capital program grant of up to $1,750,000 for the Allegheny Health Network ED expansion, Allegheny General Hospital project. Councilwoman Teresa Cale Smith presents Bill 1831, resolution granting unto AZ Holdings 7835 E. Redfield Road, Suite 106, Scottsdale, Arizona, their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a handicap ramp at 3529 Butler Street in the 6th Ward, 7th Council District of Pittsburgh. Bill 1833, resolution naming the basketball court located at the Olympia Park as the Bill Masucci Basketball Court. Councilman Brew Krause presents Bill 1832, communication from Jennifer Olzinger, Acting Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting acting pay approvals on behalf of the Department of Innovation and Performance for Brian Lee and on behalf of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure for Christian Saunders per the acting pay policy revised in June 2018. Bill 1834, petition from the residents of the city of Pittsburgh requesting a public hearing before City Council relative to proposed legislation 2019-1800, authorizing the city solicitor to petition the Orphans Court Division to request the transfer of a portion of Enright Parklet to Penley Park South in exchange for an abutting parcel of land. This concludes the reading for today, Monday, July 1st, 2019. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of Pittsburgh City Council for today, Monday, July the 1st, 2019. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Here. Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mrs. Harris. Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor. Here. Mrs. Kell-Smith. Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Kraus, President.
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And we ask that you would then remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Our first order of business is proclamations, and this morning we only have one to be presented, and it's Councilman O'Connor. Welcome back, Councilman. Welcome.
Thank you. So we have Alex come up with his whole crew. Come on up. So if you know anything about Hungarian food, right up here, right up front and center. This is a very famous and place in Hazelwood that we're all very proud of. And Alex has been there for 30 years. So this is a proclamation well-deserved. Whereas, opened in 1988, József's Corner in Hazelwood is a Hungarian restaurant that serves more as a resource for over 100 years of old Hungarian community in Pittsburgh, providing a space to enjoy and preserve Hungarian music, dance, and language, as well as provide outstanding Hungarian food. Whereas owned and run for the last 30 years by Alex Bodner, an eclectic and unusual restaurant with no menu, a main dining area called his Hungarian living room. And whereas Alex's presence is a vital part of the meal. When Alex is not cooking, he is sitting with guests telling them his personal history, including a dramatic escape from the Hungarian Revolution as a 14-year-old boy, joining the resistance, and escaping to England, finding his parents, and coming to the United States. Whereas Alex is a graphic artist by trade and has been an integral part of the history and growth of Hazelwood. He was part of the Greater Hazelwood Development Corporation, a founding member of the Hazelwood Initiative, president of the 15th Ward Chamber of Commerce. Alex hosts the Hungarian and Central Europe Artistic and Cultural Society dinners, and is a folk dancer and singer and a folk artist. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and commend Alex Bodner for his commitment to preserving the Hungarian culture in Pittsburgh, and be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Monday, July 1st, 2019 to be József's Corner Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
You're here. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And you brought food. We like you.
Well, this is a very beautiful event for me from the point of view that, as Corey made the point, I actually escaped from Hungary after participating in the resistance against the communists, both Hungarian communists and the Russian communists and Russian occupation. So it was one of those situations where I kind of took 3 days to figure out what was going on, because I lived a fairly sheltered middle-class family life. So I discovered that they were shooting our people, and it was time to take a position. And that's how I ended up helping to clean out machine guns and rifles and things like that from Cosmoline, and learning how to load guns and do my chore as a 14-year-old to help wherever I can. I participated in the Corvin quiz area, which was one of the hottest areas where the resistance was, close to the 9th zone of Budapest, which is a fairly strong hub. But I think the biggest thing that is sticking with me, and I'm maintaining my life that way, is that to commemorate regularly, I went back to Hungary in 2016, specifically to commemorate the 1956 revolution and how people are behaving there. And actually I created and declared 1956 as a Freedom Day. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise to see that. And I kind of operate in the 1956 spirit for that exact reason. And I can say that coming here in 1957, I can proudly say that I always was very pro-American in the first place. Ever since I was a kid, I learned a lot of beautiful things about what America is all about, and what its products are all about. Everything that was American made in the old period was all stuff that was made to last. And it was the cat's meow. They were the best stuff at large. And so we always had the high, even nowadays, a lot of the Hungarians have very high regards for America. And it is my great pleasure to announce that since 1956, I enjoyed and lived here longest in my life in the United States, and specifically in Pittsburgh. The commitment to the revolution was one point, but the commitment to humanity was another one. I think I wrote this, and I think I should mention that ever since 1956, the Hungarian freedom fight for independence, I, Alexander József Bodnar, remain in the spirit of 56. That event instituted at the vital and precious concepts of humanity to be fair and just, lending a hand, volunteer, family, community, and country. That freedom fight's revolution crystallized the understanding of how noble and fair or committed in our lives to be. Ever since, and even Józsa Corner Hungarian restaurant was founded and maintained in that spirit in 56. Many events and needs instituted my involvement in the freedom fight at the Corbin resistance, escaping alone at the landmine borders and looking for stability and order away from communist injustices, persecution, or being shot at. I served responsibly and graciously then and since the 70s, helping Pete Flaherty, mayor and chairman of the 100th anniversary of the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce, to better business community and climate. At the time, I was, of course, still lived specifically in Bridgeville, PA, so I wasn't even in Pittsburgh, but I kind of wanted to pitch in, and I did. I enjoyed doing that. I've actually worked the 100th and the 101st anniversary of the Chamber of Commerce, and he was the chairman of both times of the committee. So in 1974, I started my life in Hazelwood. And finally, at my present home, is still there too. I still live there. And in 1984, the AJB Professional Arts Building was started, and in process with more involvements in serving community and country. The things that I did want to mention also, which is kind of vital to me because that's one of my slight beefs, so I'm going to talk about this for a second. Besides it being my second home and my business district, I kind of probably going to put that in my menu regularly, declaring that nothing happens till you make things happen. Two things you cannot afford to do too much of, too many mistakes with too many excuses to cover up your mistakes with, because it's usually lies, and so forth and so forth. And then as a finale and a special touch, I think it's kind of clear that cleanliness is next to godliness, and just that you might be poor doesn't mean that you have to be dirty. I'm very clear about this, and I want that commitment to pursue. I handpick up at a late age of 77 now, still the garbage around my property, and I do it with some fervor and delight that we can have a property to have in the first place. That's something that wasn't at the time when I left Hungary was available. You weren't allowed to have property. Again, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for this honor from the city. From the city, I brought some food that I don't know if you can have it inside. I've been told by Lynette that you can take this outside and eat it, but don't dirty up the conference room. But There's langosh right here, the Hungarian fire bread, which I made. I just made this morning. So I don't know who wants to start.
We'll make good use of that.
Jennifer had another one left over there. So she will give you the other one. I know if the public is interested of checking out my fire bread, my langosh, but we have a menu and so forth. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
You're going to make a group shot? Yeah. Where do you want me to stand? Stand in here? Like this?
It's nice. We have lunch. Okay. Okay, Councilman, you'd like to do the will of council as well, too?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilman O'Connor presents, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh makes explicitly clear its backing of the Allegheny County Health Department's health-based air quality regulatory actions that aim to bring U.S. Steel's Edgar Thompson plant and Clairton Coke Works facilities into compliance for the good of public health, as well as its mandate to oversee the reduction or outright elimination of risks to air quality. And be it further resolved that this council hereby commits itself to supporting its residents in their fight for cleaner, healthier, and more breathable air.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes, I'll be brief. I just want to thank the co-sponsors. I know Council President Kraus, Councilwoman Strasburger was there this morning, and Councilwoman Teresa Kell Smith. I know everybody is very supportive of clean air on this council, and I also want to thank GASP and Penn Environment for bringing this to our attention. I think as the largest municipality in the county, we should step up and say that, we believe that the fines and things that are happening there to clean this up for the betterment of all of us is the right thing to do. So just thank everybody for their support.
Great. Thanks, Councilman. Further discussion by any members? Okay, seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Great. Motion passes. That concludes the proclamation portion of the council meeting, and will take us into public comment. Anyone wishing to speak before City Council has 3 minutes in which to do so. I would like to take this time to remind everyone that our rules of council state that comment is limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are at this time or could at another time come before our council. We will not permit profanity, and we will maintain order at all times. We ask that you would please begin by giving your name and the neighborhood in which you reside for our public record. When the green light begins, it will indicate the start of your 3 minutes. When the yellow light comes on, you'll have 1 minute to summarize your thoughts. When the red light comes on, then your time will have expired. May we have our first speaker, please? Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Filippini. I'm the director of the Group Against Smog and Pollution, and we are in Regent Square on South Braddock Avenue, 15218. So I just wanted to come up here and just very quickly express my sincere appreciation to Councilman O'Connor and Councilwoman Strasburger and all of the council members who supported today's will of council about air quality. I think this is just very important because this shows the public who has been craving public leadership on air quality issues that you do care, that you have their back, and that you support the Allegheny County Health Department in their efforts to hold U.S. Steel and all all polluters accountable for their actions, because we need to start minimizing to a great degree air pollution in Allegheny County. We know that it is affecting our children and the elderly the most, but it affects all of us. It shortens lives, it causes a number of health effects, and it ruins quality of life, things that we hear about on a daily basis. And it's very heartening to have council do this today. I've been working in this field a long time, and unfortunately, it's few and far between that you hear local officials or even state officials come out and do these types of things. They're usually pretty silent on air quality issues, and very rarely do they hold facilities accountable for their actions and publicly criticize them for pollution. And so I appreciate the strong will of council, which says, look, we need to hold these facilities accountable. We're acknowledging that air pollution is a serious issue. We're laying a big portion of the blame for our region's air pollution at the feet of U.S. Steel's Edgar Thomson and Clairton Coke Works facility, where it squarely belongs. We're saying to the health department, look, we're backing you up. We support you. You are in charge of protecting public health and safeguarding air quality, and we are going to support you when you take strong action to do so. And you're also letting the general public know that you support them, that you want to see them continue to report pollution, to come to rallies, to speak out to the media. So thank you very much, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and strategize about how we can continue to clean up Pittsburgh's air. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, morning, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Matt Mihalik. I'm the director of the Breathe Project. We reside on Bedford Avenue in the Hill District. And thank you, members of council, for speaking out today with this resolution. I want to specifically laud you for your leadership. So our region has been neglected for many years because of lack of investment in key facilities that have resulted in a lot of harm coming to the communities in Allegheny County. And so that has generated a number of incidents recently, the fire and explosion at the Clairton Coke Works, which has resulted in a lot of national level media attention that has put our region's reputation at risk. And so specifically, I want to say thank you for speaking out and sending the strong signal that we care about our region's reputation. We care about health in this region, sending a signal that this is a place where people should want to live and raise their children and not be living in the fear of what happens to be exposed to toxic air pollution over a long period of time. So this is the first very strong signal that we've heard from elected leaders on air quality. And so we just want to continue to back you and stand behind you so that as this issue moves forward and people ask more questions, that we can provide the technical and the fact-based health information so that you can continue to make a strong case to stand up for our region. So I just want to say once again, thank you for your leadership, and we look forward to supporting you in this continuing saga of cleaning up our air in southwestern Pennsylvania and the city of Pittsburgh.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Matt. Hi, Ashley, welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Ashley Deemer, and I live in Beachview on Coast Avenue, and our office at Penn Environment is on Murray Avenue and Squirrel Hill. I just wanted to add to the crowd and say thank you so much to City Council, to Councilman O'Connor, Councilwoman Strasburger, Council President Kraus for being leaders on this issue. I think it's one of the most critical issues facing our region right now. It's something that we need to solve to move forward and continue to be an attractive and good place for people to live and raise their families. As other speakers have mentioned, you know, it has been challenging to get our region's leaders to speak up on this issue, and certainly advocates have been working at it for decades. I will say you're in good company now, right? If the fires at the Clairton Coke Works have taught us anything, it's that we really do need to stand up and hold these polluters accountable to the Clean Air Act. And we're seeing more and more people to speak out. We've seen people in the state legislature, in the Senate, in the House speak up on this issue in a way that we've never seen before. We've seen City Council speak up in a way that we've never seen before. We had a post agenda on this issue and a listening session last week. And now Penn Environment is circulating a letter that basically outlines the idea that we all have a right to clean air and that we support strong enforcement of the Clean Air Act. And many of you have already signed on to that letter in support of this concept. In fact, 36 people around the county have signed on. And so if there are any of you who have not signed on yet, we'll be following up with you, and we hope that in light of your support of this will of council that you'll also sign on there. And we're going to keep building that coalition of people, because this is a really, really challenging issue, not without its political difficulties. And so, again, thank you very much, and yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. May we have our next speaker, please? Good morning. Welcome.
Morning. My name is Jeff Bland. I'm an air quality organizer with Clean Water Action. Excuse me. Our office is at 105th Avenue, right outside of Market Square, and I'm a resident of Wilkinsburg, actually, east of the city. But I really wanted to echo a lot of the comments today. So thankful for council for taking a strong leadership role on this issue. It's clearly one of the biggest issues of our lifetime, and I fully believe that, you know, public support, creating coalitions with government, with organizations, with residents all over can really combat these challenging issues and make really fair outcomes for everyone involved, but it does take creative thinking. So I really appreciate that the council's taking a strong step forward on this stuff, and being really proactive with this. And you know, I truly believe that, you know, together, if we work on this with, you know, fact-based and fact-oriented, you know, information to help show people the realities of this, and, you know, paths forward that aren't necessarily paths of least resistance, but you know, paths that will get us to where we need to go in the long run. So thank you, everyone, for being strong on this and for taking your role, you know, in this situation, and Pittsburgh's role in the region very seriously whenever it comes to kind of county issues. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Okay. May we have our next speaker, please? Okay, Dr. Miller, good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Ronald N. Miller, Pittsburgh City, Lawrenceville, Montgomery, City, Alabama, Global Intelligence Society candidate for President 2020. Dr. RONLYNMILLER at Dr. Ron Lynn Miller 1 on Twitter, American Historical Association, American Political Science Association, and the American Chemical Society. I really support what you do, and I appreciate what you've done, Mr. O'Connor, on this matter of air quality. A concern of council is the United States, its National Day, July 4th, and its Declaration of Independence. Does the state of Pennsylvania have the right to declare independence from the United States? For July 1776, 12 out of 13 colony delegations voted to approve of the Declaration of Independence, moved by Richard Lee. 9 July, 13 out of 13, add New York. But the signing that began on the 4th of July was not really completed until around the 2nd of August. Dickinson and Livingston never signed. Englishmen all, but living in the North American 13 colonies of the United Kingdom, they were seeking separation from King George III and the body of Englishmen living in Great Britain, the island. No, said the Britain English. Yes, nonetheless, said the North America English, with violence. The 1776 to 1781 violent conflict here is called the Third English Revolution there. My work at Oxford thunderously from the English side told me that there was a third English Revolution. English fighting English over the right to apply English ideas on governance and create a new form. Where do you think that the bicameral U.S. Congress came from? The United Kingdom, 2 houses of Parliament, or the U.S. Office of President, from the U.K. Office of President of the King's and Queen's Council, the U.S. Bill of Rights, from the UK 1688 Declaration of Rights, or the U.S. idea of inalienable rights, from the ideas of UK political theoretician John Locke, Locke, life, liberty, and property, Jefferson, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Or the U.S. pattern of using violence to solve problems. From the UK pattern, example, 1660, killing King Charles I to end the monarchy. Violence to solve problems is a deeply embedded U.S. In our national identity. It shows up in the Civil War and in the North and the South. 700,000 of our Americans killing Americans. Does the state of Pennsylvania have the right to secede? The Declaration of Independence implies yes, and to many Pennsylvanians that means sheer heaven. But we have a responsibility to declare independence from violence, I think, for remaking a nation.
Thanks, Dr. Miller. May we have our next speaker, please? Anyone else wishing to speak before City Council this morning? Okay, seeing no further speakers, we'll move on to presentation of papers, and we'll begin with Councilman Burgess, our Chair of Finance and Law. Yep. Thanks, Councilman.
Councilman Reverend Burgess presents Bill number 1827, resolution providing for the issuing of a warrant in the total sum of $52,500 in favor of Jennifer Batten and her attorney, Stewart Murray and Associates Law Group, fully releasing the city from all claims and liability for alleged personal injuries as described in a lawsuit filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Coghill, our Chair of Urban Recreation. Councilman Burgess for Councilman Coghill.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Gross, our Chair of Land Use and Economic Development. Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Harris, our Chair of Human Resources.
No new papers, Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Lavelle, our Chair of Public Safety Services.
Papers, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman O'Connor, our Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 1828, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of public works on behalf of the city to enter into a three-party agreement between the city and PWSA and Esler Landscapes, Inc. as a general contractor for Reitman Park Improvement Project at a cost not to exceed $1,858,319.61, which includes a 7% construction contingency. Bill number 1829, resolution authorizing the URA to submit an application to the Pennsylvania Office of the Budget for a redevelopment assistance capital program grant of up to $1,750,000 for the Allegheny Health Network ED expansion, Council District 1. Bill number 1830, resolution authorizing a corporation agreement with the URA in connection with the URA's application for a redevelopment assistance capital program grant of up to $1,750,000 for the Allegheny Health Network ED expansion, Council District 1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilwoman Kell Smith, our Chair of Public Works Services. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman, you do have a waiver of the rules.
I do. On Bill 1828, I would like to make a motion to waive the rules of council so that this bill can appear this afternoon.
Second.
Great. We have a second. Do we have discussion on the motion to waive the rules? Then seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those abstentions, thank you, Councilman. 1828 will appear on this afternoon's Standing Committee agenda. Then Councilwoman Kell Smith, our Chair of Public Works Services. Councilwoman Strasburger for Councilwoman Kell Smith. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Kell Smith presents Bill number 1831, resolution granting unto AZ Holding LLC, their successors, and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a handicap ramp at 3529 Butler Street in the 6th Ward, 7th Council District. Bill number 1833, a resolution naming the basketball court located at the Olympia Park as the Bill Masucci Basketball Court.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilwoman Strasburger, our Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management. Thank you, Councilwoman. The Chair has two papers. First, I have a communication from the Office of Management and Budget.
Council President Kraus presents Bill number 1832, communication from Jennifer Ozinger, Acting Director, submitting and acting pay approvals on behalf of the Department of Innovation and Performance for Brian Lee, and on behalf of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure for Christine Saunders, per the acting pay policy. Bill number 1834.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I need a motion to receive and file, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second, do we have discussion? Then seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, so moved. Thank you. And then I do have a petition in request of a public hearing.
Bill number 1834, petition from the residents of the city requesting a public hearing before City Council relative to proposed legislation 2019-1800, authorizing the city solicitor to petition the Orphans Court Division to request a transfer of a portion of Enright Parklet to Penley Park South, Inc., in exchange for an abutting parcel of land. The petition is valid in accordance with the Home Rule Charter.
Thank you. The petition is valid.
So the only thing is, Mr. President, I'd like to have this as soon as possible because this hearing doesn't. We are really council's really. It's almost obligated to pass the legislation and send it to the court. We really don't have any other option, and so I understand the will of the citizens to have their voice heard. I think that should happen. I'm just asking that it happen as soon as possible so that we can get the legislation on the table and get it passed. Because what we're really doing, and if they want to object, then they have a remedy in the court.
So we, and Madam Clerk, I'll lean on you for your expertise, but we are bound by notification, which I believe is 21 days? Yes. No, we're not. Okay. We'll work with you in the clerk's office to make sure we schedule appropriately. That takes us into unfinished business. Without unfinished business before the council, we'll go into reports of committee for final action. Our first committee then is Councilman Burgess, our chair of the Committee on Finance and Law.
President, that's about that.
What is?
There's a bill attached to it. So we'll hold for. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is this afternoon? Yeah. Yes, okay. Thank you.
Councilman Reverend Burgess presents Bill number 1823, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for June 26, 2019, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1743, resolution authorizing the issuing of a warrant in favor of Coheen and Grisby in an amount not to exceed $4,413.50 for professional legal services in connection with immigration matters. Bill number 1744, resolution authorizing the issuing of a warrant in the amount of $18,427.50 to Segal Waters Consulting for professional consulting services in relation to police arbitration. Bill number 1787, resolution further amending resolution number 816 by removing unencumbered funds from projects pending closure pursuant to Chapter 218 of the City Code. Bill number 1788, resolution further amending resolution number 863 by reappropriating funds closed due to the requirements of Chapter 218 of the City Code. Bill number 1790, resolution further amending resolution 549, providing for an agreement and/or contracts for the purchase of materials, supplies, equipment, and/or services for City Council Neighborhood Needs Program and providing for the payment of the cost thereof by transferring $45,109.30 from closed and completed projects within District 1 Neighborhood Needs to new priorities within the district. Bill number 1791, resolution further amending and supplementing resolution number 855 by transferring a total of $45,109.30 from completed projects within District 1 Neighborhoods Needs to Brighton Heights Citizens Federation, 5 Points Business District of Observatory Hill and District 1 DPW projects. Bill number 1802, resolution amending resolution 234 by changing the issuing of the warrants as follow in favor of Timothy M. Arnold and his counsel, Villanova Law Offices, in an amount not to exceed $5,400 in full and final settlement of a police-related matter. Bill number 1824, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for June 26 with a negative recommendation. Bill number 17. Oh, we'll do it separate?
We can read them all. I was going to take them separately anyway. So, yeah, we can. Let's hold on those, can we, please?
Hold.
That's fine. Under the Committee of Finance and Law, we have stopped with Bill 1802, 1824, 1766, 1767, received negative recommendations at last Wednesday's standing committee meeting. I would just like to take those bills separately. So, you've heard the reading and the title of the bills ending with 1802 under our Committee on Finance and Law. Is there further discussion on any of those bills?
Can't find it. What page? Page.
They're the last three bills under the Committee of Finance and Law. They are 1824, 1766, 1767. We'll take those separately. So the bills under our Committee of Finance and Law from 1823 to 1802 are up for discussion. Okay. So no further discussion on any of the bills as read. Okay, these bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when the names are called. Those opposed will vote no. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mrs. Harris.
This is not including the ones I abstained on last week,
Correct.
are they?
Correct.
I'm trying to figure out
This
where
is
we're
not
at.
including 1824, 1766, and 1767.
Yeah.
Okay, 4, pages 4. Okay, look. These are all the ones you voted yes on. These are all the ones you voted yes on. Starting here. These ones got the negative recommendation. This one, this one. No, we're not voting on those right now. We're only voting on this one.
Okay. Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Mrs. Kell-Smith.
Well, yeah,
Final action
Aye.
for finance.
sorry, I was talking.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus, President.
Aye.
Ayes 8, no 0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. These bills, having received the legally required number of votes, have finally passed. Now, also under our Committee on Finance and Law, Madam Clerk, may we have the purpose of 1824, 1766, and 1767?
Councilman Reverend Burgess presents Bill number 1824, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for June 26, 2019, with a negative recommendation. Bill number 1766, resolution authorizing the City Ethics Hearing Board to enter into a professional services agreement with DeForest, Koselnick, Yokitis, and Berardinelli Coppers for professional legal services regarding ethics matters in an amount not to exceed $30,000. Bill number 1767, resolution authorizing the City Ethics Hearing Board to enter into a professional services agreement with Rothman Gordon for professional legal services regarding ethics matters in an amount not to exceed $15,000.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. You've heard the reading and the title of the bills 1824, 1766, and 1767. Do we have further discussion on the bills? Councilwoman Harris.
Yes, I'd like to bring my comments forward from our post-agenda meeting, and I'll be abstaining.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kill-Smith.
I just want to say that I, share some of Councilwoman Harris's concerns, but I think that, we need to look at the legislation. But to be honest with you, I've always felt like these laws, in terms of regarding these kinds of things, if people have a propensity to do something illegal, another piece of paper isn't going to stop them. I mean, it's almost comical to think that another law is going to stop them from breaking the original law. So, I mean, I just really think the ethics stuff is good talking points, and I'd love to know that we have a lot of people here that do wonderful things and wouldn't even consider something like that. But I do think that some of these laws are sometimes just a bunch of good talking points. If you have a propensity to do something illegal, you're going to do it whether there's another law in place, because you're originally breaking the law. So another law is going to tell you not to break the law. I mean, it's kind of...
Thank you, Councilwoman. So, Madam Clerk, I'm going to lean on your expertise here. Voting aye is in support of the negative recommendation. Voting no is to not support the negative recommendation, correct? So if you wish to approve the bills, then your vote is no, as I understand it. If you wish to support the negative recommendation, your vote would be yes. Do we have that correct, Madam Clerk?
Point of order.
Let me finish this, please, Councilwoman.
No, I don't think.
We sure about that? I thought.
It's recommended.
It's recommended. I think it's still.
Excuse me, I had the floor first.
May I chair the meeting, please? Madam Clerk.
You always burst on.
It's going to be a regular roll call.
So if you wish to see the bills pass, your vote is going to be aye. It will be. If you do not wish to see the bills pass, your vote will be no.
Yes.
So if you wish to see completion of the bills, your vote is aye. If you don't wish to see the completion of the bills, your vote is no. Okay? Okay? All right. So then you've heard the reading and the title of the bills. Bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when their names are called. Those opposed will vote no. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Excuse me, I had a point of order. May I?
Councilwoman?
Yes, on 1824.
That's the report of committee.
Okay.
Is all that is.
And on the others, it's written as a negative recommendation.
Yes.
It is not a negative recommendation. When you have abstains, that's a 0 vote. The only way that it would be negative if there were negative recommendations of a no vote. Go look at Robert's rules. It's written wrong. When you have your post-agenda meeting, you don't need to have 5 votes. When you have more abstentions, that counts as nothing.
That's not true.
That's true.
It is not true.
Okay, where's the rules? Who's the one that's supposed to be?
So
I guess the law office has to set something up on that. Because that's what's always been here.
We did this on
keep
Wednesday.
changing the rules left and right.
Mr. President, I'm not asked for interrogative. I simply remind what I said Wednesday. If you recluse yourself, then your presence doesn't count. If you abstain, even though you don't vote, your presence still counts. So when you abstain from a vote, it's still a vote of all the people that are at the table. So if there are 7 of you and there's 2 abstentions, an abstention is still your presence. That means you're counted as whether it's 4 of 7 or 3 of 7. When you recluse yourself, that means you no longer are participating in the vote whatsoever. So then the number of votes, the number of people voting change. A recusal means you're not counted when, as part of the vote. So if there were 2 reclusals, then if you had 7 people, there'd only be 5 voting. But in an abstentions case, the person still counts. And so that's the difference, and it only counts in the standing committee meeting, not in this meeting.
We used to be able to get the rules right off of the clerk who knew the rules. And what I'm saying is, okay, if there are 3 yes votes, I'm only talking about at the table over proposed agendas. And there's abstentions. The abstentions do not count. The 3 votes had passed it. It was not a negative recommendation because you don't need 5 votes at that meeting to put it through. That is not a negative recommendation. That was a positive recommendation because you could have 2 votes, and as long as you didn't have the no votes over it.
That's not true.
It is. Yes, it is. Reverend, go read it up.
So
I mean, I don't know where our parliamentarian is. I guess we don't have one anymore.
This brings no substance to the conversation this morning. The bills are before us now for final action. I've asked the clerk to call the roll. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross. Aye. Mrs. Harris.
Abstain.
Mr. Lavelle. Mr. O'Connor. Mrs. Kel-Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus, President.
Aye.
Ayes 8, 1 abstention.
Aye. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. Our next committee is our Committee on Public Works Services. Our chair is Councilwoman Teresa Kell-Smith.
I'd
Good
like
morning,
somebody to
Councilwoman.
get something from
Councilwoman, we'll
the
take
law
that up under
office.
motions and resolutions. She hasn't recused herself.
Recuse yourself, you have to have a majority.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Kell-Smith presents Bill number 1825, Report of the Committee on Public Works for June 26, with 2019 with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1792, Resolution authorizing the transfer by the city to PennDOT certain public right-of-way and temporary construction easement rights on certain property of the 4th Ward of the city in cooperation with the PennDOT construction project.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You've heard the reading and the title of the bill under our Public Works Services Committee. Do we have further discussion on the bill? Then seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their names are called. Those opposed will vote. Those opposed will vote no. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mrs. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Mrs. Kel-Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The bill having received the legally required number of votes is finally passed. Next, we have our Land Use and Economic Development Committee. Our chair is Councilwoman Deborah Gross. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Hers not signed. I'll give her. I need to let her sign. Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 1826, Report of the Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for June 26, 2019, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1789, Resolution authorizing the Office of Management and Budget on behalf of the city to submit a filing of a proposal for funds with the PADCED for the purpose of receiving grant funds that will be used for rapid rehousing services and to thereafter enter into an agreement with PADCED to accept any grant funds offered to the city. Bill number 1816, Resolution amending Resolution 280 so as to perform reprogramming within City Council from Northside Senior Programming, Southwest Pittsburgh CDC, to Allegheny West $3,500, and Zealous Hope Project $3,000. Bill number 1817, Resolution amending Resolution number 281 so as to to perform reprogramming within City Council from Northside Senior Programming, Southwest Pittsburgh CDC, to Allegheny West, $3,500, and Zealous Hope Project, $3,000. Bill number 1818, resolution amending Resolution 278, so as to reprogram funds within City Council office from Parks and Recreation, Northside Senior Programming, to Kitchen of Grace, $2,000, Allegheny West, $7,530, and Cameron Welch Youth Baseball, $2,970. Bill number 1819, resolution amending Resolution number 279, so as to reprogram funds within City Council from Parks and Recreation Northside Senior Programming to Kitchen of Grace, $2,000, Allegheny West, $7,530, and Cameron Welch Youth Baseball, $2,970. Bill number 1820, resolution amending Resolution 368, as to correct typographical errors to reprogram funds from the OMB Citizens Participation to the Mayor's Office for Pittsburgh Partnership for Neighborhood Development, Neighborhood Allies, $140,000, and to perform reprogramming within City Council from Poise Foundation, Holy Wisdom Parish Food Bank, Preservation Pittsburgh Allegheny City Historic Gallery, and District 1, to Cameron Welch Youth Baseball, $12,030, District 1 Department of Public Works Project, $12,270, Troy Hill Community Center, $10,000, Brothers and Sisters Emerging, $8,000, Urban Academy of Greater Pittsburgh Charter Schools, $12,500, Naomi's Place Transitional Housing, $10,000, Earthen Vessel Outreach, $7,500, Reading is Fundamental, $7,000, and Community Theater Group doing business as Kelly Strayhorn Theater, $10,000. Bill number 1821, resolution amending Resolution 369, so as to program reprogramming within City Council from Poise Foundation, Holy Wisdom Parish Food Bank, Preservation Pittsburgh Allegheny City Historic Gallery, and District 1, to Cameron Welch Youth Baseball, $12,030, District 1 Department of Public Works Project, $12,270, Troy Hill Community Center, $10,000, Brothers and Sisters Emergent, $8,000, Urban Academy of Greater Pittsburgh Charter School, $12,500, Naomi's Place Transitional Housing, $10,000, Earthen Vessels Outreach, $7,500, Reading is Fundamental, $7,000, and Community Theater Corporation, Kelly Strayhorn Theater, $10,000.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You've heard the reading and the title of the bills under our Committee on Land Use and Economic Development. Further discussion on any of the bills? And seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when the names are called. Those opposed will vote no. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mrs. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle. Mr. O'Connor. Mrs. Kell Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, noes 0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The bills then, having received the legally required number of votes, have finally passed. The chair has several meeting announcements. This is a reminder the Council's Standing Committee meeting will be held this afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Also, clerk and council offices are closed this Thursday in observance of the 4th of July holiday. Next, Tuesday, July 9th at 1:30 p.m., Council will be in executive session on Bill 1801 as it relates to a warrant. And also on Tuesday, July 9th, Council will be holding both a Cablecast post agenda and a Cablecast public hearing on Bill 1775 as it relates to the PWSA cooperation agreement. The post agenda will be held at 2 p.m. The public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. and both are here in council chambers. If there's nothing further from members, may I have a motion to approve our minutes and adjourn our meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.